The bakery smelled of freshly baked bread, sweet vanilla cream, and the faint warmth of comfort, the kind of scent that made people forget their troubles for a moment. But for one little girl standing outside the glass door, that scent was a cruel reminder of everything she didn't have. Her hair was tied in a messy ponytail, her clothes worn and faded, and her small hands were clasped together as if holding on to the last thread of hope. The world had been harsh to her, but even then, she had not forgotten how to say please. She stepped inside, her small voice trembling as she faced the woman behind the counter. Do you have any expired cake?" The words fell into the air like broken glass, fragile, painful, and unforgettable. The cashier froze for a second, her heart sinking. The little girl wasn't asking for a treat, she was asking for survival. If you believe that kindness can change a life and that second chances still exist in this world, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe, because sometimes one act of goodness can rewrite someone's destiny. The bakery worker looked at the girl, unsure of what to say. Company policy was strict. Nothing expired was to be kept or given away. She looked down at the trays of cakes, fresh and beautiful, knowing she couldn't give her any. The girl's eyes glistened as she lowered her gaze, her small fingers tightening together. Behind her, a few customers turned their heads away, uncomfortable, pretending not to see her. Among them stood a tall man in a navy blue suit, polished shoes, gold watch, and the quiet confidence of wealth. But at that moment, he wasn't looking at the pastries. He was looking at her. That man was Alexander Reed, a billionaire entrepreneur known for his empire of luxury hotels, restaurants, and global investments. Yet, despite his fame and fortune, he stood there rooted to the ground, watching the little girl's trembling lips as she whispered, "It's okay. I'll come back." Later. Her innocence pierced something deep inside him, something he hadn't felt in years. He remembered being 10 years old, standing barefoot in a grocery store, asking for the same thing, expired bread, when his father lost his job and his mother was sick. The memory had long been buried beneath layers of success and pride, but this moment cracked it open. He felt that same burning ache in his chest that once came from hunger and humiliation. The girl turned to leave, but the cashier's voice stopped her. "Wait, I can't give you expired cake," she said quietly, "but you can have a slice of this one." She reached for a soft chocolate cake, fresh out of the oven, and placed it gently in a small paper box. The girl blinked in disbelief. "But I don't have any money," she whispered. The woman smiled faintly. "It's on the house." As the girl clutched the box with trembling hands, her face lit up with pure gratitude, the kind that doesn't need words. She looked up, whispered a thank you, and hurried out into the cold street. Alexander followed her with his eyes until she disappeared into the crowd. He couldn't focus for the rest of the day. The image of that little girl haunted him. Her innocence, her hunger, her quiet dignity, it all struck him harder than any business failure ever had. He left the bakery, walked down the street, and saw her again, sitting on a bench outside a park, sharing the slice of cake with a stray dog, half for her, half for the animal. That was when something inside him broke completely. He walked up to her slowly. "Hey," he said softly, "you like cake?" She looked up, startled but polite. "It's my favorite," she said, smiling faintly, crumbs on her tiny fingers. "It was my mom's favorite too." Her words hit him like a thunderclap. "Was?" he asked. She nodded, her smile fading. "She's gone now. Daddy left long ago. I just stay where I can." Alexander's throat tightened. He had spent years building skyscrapers, hosting galas and chasing numbers, but never once had he stopped to look at how people on the street survived. For the first time in decades he felt poor, not in money, but in soul. He bought her a meal, some warm clothes, and walked her to a shelter. But even after she was safe, he couldn't sleep that night. Lying awake in his penthouse, he stared at the ceiling and realized how far he had drifted from humanity. His success meant nothing if he couldn't make the world a little better. The next morning, he made a decision that would shock the city. he founded the Little Hope Foundation, an organization dedicated to feeding and housing homeless children. The first project was simple. Every bakery and restaurant in his company chain would give away fresh leftovers to the poor every night. No more wasted food, no more hungry children walking away empty-handed. The media caught wind of his actions and praised his generosity, but Alexander didn't care about headlines. He wasn't doing it for fame, he was doing it for that little girl and for the boy he once was. He personally visited shelters, sat with children, listened to their stories. For the first time in years, he smiled not because of profits, but because he saw lives changing. Weeks later, he returned to the same bakery. The cashier recognized him instantly, nervous at his presence. "Sir, I'm so sorry if there was any issue that day," but he stopped her with a gentle wave. "You did nothing wrong. In fact, you reminded me what real kindness looks like." He handed her a small card that said, "Partnership with Little Hope Foundation." The bakery was now officially part of his project, and every night it would serve free food to anyone in need. The woman's eyes filled with tears. A few days later, he visited the shelter again and found the little girl sitting by the window, drawing in a small notebook. She had clean clothes now, her hair neatly tied, and a bright spark in her eyes. "Hey," he said, kneeling beside her, "how's my favorite cake, lover?" She giggled. "Better. Thank you, mister." He smiled. "My name's Alex. Do you like school?" She nodded shyly. "Someday I want to be a baker." He felt a lump in his throat. "Then someday you will be," he said quietly, "and I'll be your first customer." He left her with a small backpack filled with books, clothes, and a promise, a scholarship for her education. That day, Alexander Reed didn't just give away money, he gave away hope. Months turned into a year. The foundation grew. Shelters expanded, and thousands of children were fed daily, all because one homeless girl asked for expired cake. And the billionaire who once thought he had everything realized he'd only started living when he chose compassion over comfort. Years later, during a foundation event, a young woman approached him with a tray of freshly baked pastries. "Try this," she said, smiling. He took a bite. Soft, warm, perfect. "This is amazing," he said, impressed. She grinned. "You don't remember me, do you? I'm that little girl who asked for expired cake." His eyes widened, emotions flooding his face. "You?" She nodded proudly. "You didn't just feed me that day. You gave me a reason to live." Tears glimmered in his eyes as he hugged her. Around them, hundreds of children clapped and cheered. The bakery lights shimmered just like that first day. But this time, no one went hungry. Sometimes, all it takes is a small act of kindness to awaken the humanity we forget inside us. And sometimes, the smallest voices, even those asking for expired cake, can teach the richest hearts what true wealth really means. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe, because kindness deserves to be spread. Before you leave, tell us in the comments, what's one kind thing you'd do today if you had the chance? And remember, every act of love, no matter how small, can change someone's world forever.